Good morning and welcome to Newsfirst Prime Time Sunrise.
A very good morning to you. It's the 31st of March 2014. We've come to the end of yet another month. Just concluded the Southern and Western Provincial Council polls. We start off first with a look at your headlines. Preferential voting results released in all districts. Hirunika leads in Colombo, Prasanna in Gampa and Shan Vijaylal from Gaul. Police and election monitors point out that the post-election period is peaceful. Group of nurses launched strike action against not receiving training in midwifery. Overseas, U.S. Secretary of State says U.S. still considers Russia's takeover of Ukraine's Crimea region to be illegal and illegitimate. A group of nurses have launched a strike action, charging that the nurses are not being given training in midwifery. Chairman of the Government Nurses Association, Saman Ratnapriya, stated that apart from the National Hospital, the strike action will take place in 50 hospitals across the island.
We request
an official letter from the Secretary to the Ministry of Health, Nihal Jatilaka, addressed to the directors of the hospitals and the director of the Angoda Mental Asylum to provide the midwifery and the labour room training. If they provide us this letter now, we are ready to put a halt to the strike action. If they give the letter by 9 a.m., we are ready to stop the strike action at that time. We are not ready to end the strike action based on false statements.
When Newsfirst made inquiries with regard to the strike action that will be taken with regard to the nurses' demands from the Deputy Minister of Health, Lalit Dissanayake, this is what he had to say.
We were not informed about the strike. I believe this is a matter that can be solved and they do not have to carry out such an action. Currently, we are discussing about this issue and a committee has already been appointed. We ask them to wait until the decision is made by the committee. I express my regret about the trade unions taking such rash decisions and launching a trade union action.
Well, today marks day 5 of the Around the World in 40 Days initiative organized by Newsfirst and Sri Lanka Youth, parallel to the World Youth Conference that will be held in Sri Lanka later this year. Joining us now for more information with regard to the program is Newsfirst Ramesh Irukal Bandara.
Around the World in 40 Days.
A very good morning. Well, today marks day 5 of the Around the World in 40 Days program, where we spread the message of the World Conference on Youth 2014, which will be held in Sri Lanka from the 6th of May. The Sri Lanka delegation that is spreading the message on the World Conference of Youth Panti in Jakarta, Indonesia. We are due to land in Manila, Philippines at around 6:30 p.m. local time, and we will be attending a special seminar organized by Sri Lankan High Commission in Facility. Now, let me remind you that our journey on Thursday from Sri Lanka, our first stop was Malaysia, then Singapore, and finally we are currently in Jakarta. Stay news first as we continue to spread the message on the Conference of Youth and keep you updated with regard to the latest on our journey to the world. Ramesh Irukal Bandara from Newsfirst.
The preferential votes pertaining to the recently concluded Western and Southern Provincial Council elections have already been released. Preferential voting results were released early this morning from the Colombo and Gampaha districts.
Contesting under the UPFA banner, Prasanna Ranatunga obtained the highest number of votes of 249,678 for the Gampaha district, recording 106,661 votes. The second highest number of votes was recorded by Nimal Lansa. Sahan Pradeep came in third from the district, obtaining 59,892 votes. Meanwhile, from the United National Party, the highest number of votes of 51,018 obtained by Harshana Rajakarana from Gampaha. Kavinda Heshan obtained the second highest number of votes, obtaining 41,654. Edward Gunasekara obtained 29,944 votes from the UNP, coming in third from Gampaha. Meanwhile, Susaruddinal, who contested from the United People's Freedom Front for the Gampaha district, obtained 37,598 votes.
Meanwhile, at dawn, preferential voting results were released for the Colombo district. The highest number of votes were obtained by Hirunika Premachandra for the Colombo district from the UPFA. She obtained 139,034 votes. Udaya Gammanpilla obtained 115,638 votes, coming in second. Upali Kodikara received 47,822 votes. Roger Seniratna obtained 44,011 votes. Contesting for Colombo from the United National Party, S.M. Marika obtained the highest number of votes, receiving 67,243. Manjushri Arangala obtained 45,654 votes. The highest number of votes from the Democratic Party was obtained by Susil Kindel Pitia, amounting to 32,918. On to news overseas now. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said he told Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov that the U.S. still considered Russia's takeover of Ukraine's Crimea region to be illegal and illegitimate. He said he had stressed that no decision on Ukraine's future could be made without Kiev's involvement. Earlier, Lavrov set out demands for a neutral and federal Ukraine.
And Russia have differences of opinion about the events that led to this crisis. But both of us recognize the importance of finding a diplomatic solution and of simultaneously meeting the needs of the Ukrainian people, and that we agreed on tonight. In a frank conversation this evening with Foreign Minister Lavrov, I made clear that the United States still considers the Russian actions to be illegal and illegitimate, and Russia's actions over the past several weeks have placed it at odds, obviously, with the rule of law and the international community, and we still believe on the wrong side of history. We will continue to support the people of Ukraine's right to choose their own future, and I will say that at least tonight, Foreign Minister Lavrov indicated that Russia wants to respect the right of Ukrainians to make that choice. The United States is consulting with Ukraine at every step of this process, and we will not accept a path forward where the legitimate government of Ukraine is not at the table. This principle is clear. No decisions about Ukraine without Ukraine.
Still in news overseas, Turkey's Prime Minister Tayyip Erdogan has claimed victory in a local election and vowed that his enemies would pay the price. Now, Erdogan's government has been accused of authoritarianism and corruption after a string of scandals.
The local election, the first vote since mass protests last June, was seen as a barometer of his popularity. Erdogan was not standing for election but campaigned hard for his Justice and Development Party. With about half of the votes counted, it was leading the main opposition party 45% to 27%. The AKP had been aiming to equal or better its 38.8% share of the vote in 2009. AKP officials and supporters were celebrating victory long before Erdogan's announcement. Polls closed and vote counting began at 7 p.m. local time. Voting in the local assembly and mayoral elections passed off peacefully in most areas, but 8 people were reportedly killed in 2 separate incidents involving supporters of rival candidates. Feuding families were said to have clashed in the southern city of Hatay and eastern province Sanirufa. The Prime Minister had been eyeing a run for the presidency in August, the first time voters will directly elect the head of state, or may seek to change the rules to allow him to seek a 4th term in office.
Moving back to one of our local stories here at home, the police headquarters says that a fewer number of election-related incidents have been reported this year in comparison with the previous elections held. Of course, police media spokesperson SP Ajit Rohana stated that the post-election period that is currently prevailing is peaceful. Meanwhile, election monitors also expressed the same view, that the post-election situation is peaceful. National organizer of the National Elections Monitoring Centre, Rasanga Harishchandra, stated that no incidents of election-related violence have been reported at this election.
විශේෂයෙන්ම පසුගිය මැතිවරණ වලට සාපේක්ෂව මෙවර මැතිවරණය සිදුවීම් අඩු මැතිවරණයක් හැටියට හඳුන්වන්නට පුළුවන්. බරපතල ගණයේ පශ්චාත් මැතිවරණ සිදුවීම් කිසිවක් වාර්තා වුණේ නැහැ. ඉතාම සුළු සිද්ධීන් කිහිපයක් වාර්තා වුණා රටේ පසුගිය වැනි. කෙසේ වෙතත් මැතිවරණ කාල සීමාවලට හැඳින්වෙන්නේ නාමවිලා දිනේ සිට මැතිවරණය අවසන් සතියක් දක්වා කාලය. ඒ නිසා අප්‍රේල් 4 වෙනිදා දක්වා මේ කාලය කිසිම වාහන බලපාලය
Envoys are still on duty, and we request candidates and their supporters to assist us in maintaining law and order.
තවදුරටත් පොලිස් ජංගම සේවා සහ යතුරුපැලි සංචාර ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා. අපේක්ෂකයන් ආධාරකරුවන් සහ අනිකුත් සියලු දෙනාගෙන්ම අපි ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා ඉතිහාස.
On that note, we wrap up this edition of Primetime Sunrise. We'll see you again at 8:55 with more of the very latest. Have a great day ahead.
Hotline 0114 896 896 www.news